It started with one post, a blurry screenshot that claimed to reveal a secret clause worth $600,000 buried deep inside Lamine Yamal's football contract. A cocaine clause. Within minutes, it was everywhere. Twitter threads, Instagram stories, TikTok edits. And at the center of it all, Nicki Nicole. Headline screamed Nicki Nicole exposed, and fans rushed to piece together a story that sounded too wild to be true. How could one of football's brightest stars be linked to something this dark? Why was her name suddenly everywhere again, not for her music, but for a scandal no one could verify? As hashtags exploded and fake documents circulated, one question echoed across the internet: is this real? But what if this wasn't a scandal at all? What if it was something far more dangerous, a perfectly designed lie that fooled millions? Tonight, we uncover the truth behind the so-called $600K cocaine clause, how it spread, who started it, and why the internet believed it without a second thought. Because sometimes, the biggest scandal isn't what's leaked, it's what's made up. 3 months before the rumor exploded, everything around Lamine Yamal and Nicki Nicole seemed untouchable. He was football's prodigy, young, disciplined, already earning numbers that most players only dream of. She was the voice of a generation, a global pop icon whose songs turned heartbreak into anthems. Together, they looked like the new face of modern fame, power, love, and success all rolled into one flawless story. They weren't just another celebrity couple, they were proof that two different worlds could collide and still make sense. Fans loved watching them, the quiet footballer who spoke more with his eyes than his words, and the singer who could fill arenas but still looked grounded when she held his hand. Every appearance, every small gesture between them became viral. Interviews replayed their laughter, their support for each other. To the public, they were perfect, too perfect. But perfection has a way of drawing shadows. Behind the cameras, the schedules got tighter. Lamine was preparing for back-to-back matches that left him bruised and exhausted, while Nicki was touring across continents. Their calls became shorter, their texts delayed. Yet both tried to keep the illusion alive, because admitting distance meant admitting that something might be wrong. Then came the photo, a backstage picture from one of Nicki's concerts. She stood laughing with a producer, a hand on his shoulder, eyes sparkling. It was harmless, but the internet doesn't understand harmless. A fan posted it with the caption, "She looks happier without him." Within hours, the image spread everywhere. Lamine didn't respond, but his silence only fueled the fire. Nicki brushed it off at first. "People always talk," she told her team. "As long as he knows the truth, I don't care." But the truth was becoming harder to hold on to. Their worlds, once perfectly aligned, were spinning in opposite directions. Still, neither of them could have imagined what was coming. A few weeks later, a small account on X, formerly Twitter, posted what it claimed to be a leaked clause from Lamine's new sponsorship contract, a clause that supposedly fined him $600,000 if he was caught with substances linked to Nicki Nicole. The account had no credibility, no source, just a blurry screenshot with half the text redacted. But it didn't matter. People saw Lamine Yamal, Nicki Nicole, cocaine, and $600,000 in the same post, and that was enough. Within hours, the rumor had mutated. Some claimed the clause was real. Others said it was planted by her management to defame him. A few even said it was proof of an investigation. None of it had evidence, but every theory found believers. Lamine's team stayed silent, hoping the noise would die out. Nicki's PR denied it casually, calling it internet fiction. But silence and denial rarely stop a storm, they feed it. Soon, fake documents started surfacing. Someone edited a real contract photo, added the words cocaine clause, and blurred the rest. The image looked official enough to be believable. News pages picked it up without verifying. Clickbait channels titled their videos, "Nicki Nicole exposed, cocaine scandal confirmed." And just like that, fiction became fact in the public's mind. Meanwhile, both of them were living through the fallout in real time. Lamine, normally calm, started avoiding interviews. He knew whatever he said would be twisted. Nicki tried to distract herself with music, but her comments were flooded with snake emojis and drug deal jokes. Friends told her to take a break from social media, but she refused. "If I stop now," she said, "they'll think it's true." What none of them realized then was how orchestrated the whole thing was. The rumor hadn't grown by accident. It had been seeded, spread, and timed perfectly to go viral. Someone wanted this story out, and they knew exactly when to drop it. Right before Lamine's biggest match of the season and days before Nicki's new single. As the pressure built, their relationship cracked under the weight of whispers. They stopped posting together. Paparazzi caught Lamine leaving his apartment alone, hoodie up, head down. Every silent move became another sign. And through it all, the same question haunted both of them: who started it? Because deep down, they knew this wasn't just gossip. This was something bigger, a trap carefully set in the digital dark, designed to destroy not just a reputation, but trust itself. The world was convinced they were hiding something. The truth was, they were just not what people thought. And soon, the person behind the leak would reveal why the lie was worth so much more than the truth. The night everything came crashing down, Nicki was in Madrid for a private event, and Lamine had just returned from an away match. His phone was flooded with notifications, headlines, tags, and messages from friends asking if the rumor was real. One message stood out, from his manager: "We need to talk. Now." He opened the attachment, a screenshot of what looked like a WhatsApp chat between Nicki and someone named A. Morales. The text read, "They'll never find out. The clause was never real, but it did what we needed." For a moment, Lamine just stared at it, unable to breathe. The date, the profile picture, it all matched. He didn't want to believe it. Maybe it was fake, maybe someone had edited it. But then another screenshot appeared online, this one showing Nicki's name beside a laughing emoji and the message, "He's panicking already." By midnight, the screenshots had been shared over 1 million times. Hashtags like #NickiExposed and #CocaineClause trended worldwide. Comment sections turned brutal. Fans who once adored her were demanding explanations. When Nicki called him that night, her voice trembled. "Lamine, you have to believe me. Those screenshots aren't real." He didn't answer at first. The silence stretched long enough to make her whisper, "Please say something." Finally, he said quietly, "If they're fake, then why is your label not denying it? Why is everyone staying quiet?" She exhaled sharply, frustration leaking through her fear. "Because they think feeding it will make it worse. They want me to ride it out." He wanted to believe her, but the damage was already done. Every brand, every journalist, every fan wanted a statement. He'd spent years building his name on discipline and focus. Now, overnight, he was being dragged into a scandal that didn't exist. 2 days later, a new video dropped. It was an edited clip of Nicki backstage, laughing with the same producer from months ago. The caption read, "She's the one who leaked it herself, for attention." The clip was stitched together from different angles, but in the chaos, no one cared about context. Nicki's voice cracked in her next livestream. "You think I'd ruin my own life for attention?" she said, tears visible beneath her eyeliner. "You think I'd do that to someone I love?" Her fans flooded the chat with hearts, but the comments underneath were merciless. Meanwhile, a journalist known for deep dive investigations published a thread claiming to have traced the first fake clause image back to a burner account, one linked to a rival PR agency. He called it an orchestrated digital hit job. But it was too late. The truth moved slower than outrage. When Lamine finally met Nicki face to face, there was no anger, just exhaustion. She looked smaller, her confidence dulled by weeks of accusations. "You think I did this?" she asked quietly. He hesitated, eyes heavy. "I don't know what to think anymore. All I know is, every time I open my phone, it feels like I'm drowning in something neither of us started." She reached for his hand, but he stepped back. "I just need time," he said. "Time to breathe." That was the last night they were seen together. Days later, another leak hit, a voice memo, supposedly of Nicki saying she used the rumor for promotion. But audio experts quickly confirmed it was AI generated. The damage, however, was irreversible. Sponsorships paused, brands distanced themselves, and the media had already moved on to the next scandal. Nicki released a single the following week, a soft, haunting track that ended with the line, "I didn't break the truth broke me." Lamine didn't respond publicly. He didn't need to. The silence between them spoke louder than any headline ever could. What started as a fake clause had become something far worse, a mirror reflecting how easily the world believes a lie when it's wrapped in drama. And by the time anyone cared to ask what was real, everything that once was trust, love, peace, had already disappeared into the noise. The world had moved on, but not for them. For Nicki, every day felt like living inside the echo of a lie. Her name, once tied to sold-out arenas and chart-topping hits, now appeared beside words like scandal, drug clause, and exposed. She'd stopped checking her mentions, but still, every notification felt like a wound reopening. Outside her apartment in Buenos Aires, cameras waited day and night. Every click of a shutter felt like a verdict. She kept her blinds closed, but sometimes at night she'd peek out, flashes flickering like lightning, reporters shouting her name through the dark. Lamine wasn't faring better. During training, teammates whispered. Some avoided eye contact. He'd grown quieter, his movements heavier, like every sprint carried the weight of headlines. During one match, when he missed an easy goal, someone from the stand shouted, "Maybe he's still high." The crowd laughed. He froze. The next play, he walked off the field. Behind the scenes, both teams, her label and his management, scrambled for damage control. Public statements, half-hearted clarifications, short-lived hashtags like #SupportNicki and #JusticeForYamal appeared and vanished just as fast. No one wanted to pick a side. No one wanted the truth, only clicks. Then came the breaking point. A small independent outlet published a long article titled "The Anatomy of a Lie." It wasn't sensational, it was surgical. They traced the original cocaine clause image to a marketing agency that specialized in viral manipulation. One of their clients, a rising singer under the same label as Nicki Nicole. Someone who'd been struggling for attention, until now. The agency had used AI to fake screenshots, voice messages, and even time-stamped metadata to make it look authentic. It was an experiment, a test to see how quickly a fake could become real. Nicki and Lamine were never the target, just the tools. When the truth came out, there were no apologies, no breaking news banners. The world barely blinked. The outrage that had destroyed them vanished into silence. Nicki read the article alone in her hotel room. Tears blurred the text as her phone lit up again, this time, a message from Lamine. "I read it. I'm sorry." She typed back, paused, deleted the words, and finally sent, "It's too late, isn't it?" He didn't reply. That night, she stood on her balcony, looking over the city lights, the same city that had once screamed her name in love and now in suspicion. Somewhere in the distance, fireworks exploded, celebrating a match she couldn't watch. The world kept spinning, unaware that she felt stuck in the same endless second, the one when everything broke. A month later, she performed again for the first time. The crowd was smaller, quieter, but when she stepped onto the stage, something in her had changed. No flashy lights, no dancers, just her and a MIC. She started singing Silencio, her newest track. Halfway through, her voice cracked, but she kept going. The final verse hit different. "They told a story, and I became its ghost. They took my name, but I still have my voice." In the audience, a few held up signs, "We believe you." Meanwhile, Lamine played his next game in silence. No interviews, no celebrations, just focus. After scoring a goal, he didn't cheer. He just looked up at the stands, eyes steady, as if forgiving the noise. Both had survived the storm, but not without scars. The rumor had ended, yet its echo lived on in every comment, every whisper. Because that's the thing about lies, they don't disappear when exposed. They linger, quietly, invisibly, reminding you that truth, in the age of virality, isn't about what happened. It's about what people choose to believe. In the end, the truth didn't arrive with sirens or headlines. It came quietly, too late to repair what had already been broken. The rumor that started as a few clicks and careless shares had turned two real people into characters in a story they never agreed to be part of. Nicki and Lamine weren't just victims of fake news. They were proof of how fragile reputation has become in a world that rewards speed over accuracy, drama over dignity. For weeks, millions played judge, jury, and executioner without ever asking one simple question: what if this isn't true? And that's the tragedy, not the lie itself, but how easily we believed it. Every retweet, every share, every mocking comment became part of the weapon that destroyed trust, love, and truth. We talk about cancel culture, but we never talk about what comes after: the silence, the loss, the human cost that remains when the internet moves on. So next time you see a leak, a screenshot, or a clause, pause. Ask yourself who benefits if you believe it. Ask yourself if adding one more share makes you part of the story, or part of the damage. Because behind every viral scandal, there's a heartbeat. Behind every exposed headline, there's someone trying to breathe through the noise. The cocaine clause was never real, but the pain it caused was. And in this digital age, where truth is fragile and lies are loud, maybe the most powerful thing we can do is simple: wait before we believe. Because sometimes, the most haunting headlines aren't the ones we read, they're the ones we help create.